Hi, I'm Liz Conant, and my theorist presentation is Jack Mezirow. John D. Mezirow, who is nicknamed Jack, was born on March 7, 1923. His place of birth was Fargo, North Dakota. He earned his bachelor's and master's degrees in social sciences from the University of Minnesota and an Ed.D. in adult education from UCLA. Sadly, Mezirow passed away 9 months ago on September 24, 2014. His passing was 2 months after the death of his beloved wife, Edie. They are survived by one son. Mezirow had a long and impressive career. During one phase of his life, he worked as a consultant in adult literacy and community development for the United Nations. And he was in charge of extension programs at the University of California. In 1968, Mezirow joined Teachers College as a professor of adult and continuing education. At Teachers College, Professor Mezirow established and directed a pioneering alternative format doctoral program known as AEGIS, which stands for Adult Education Guided Intensive Study. During the early 1970s, his wife, Edie, enrolled at Sarah Lawrence College to complete her undergrad degree. Inspired by her experience, Mezirow began a massive national study of women returning to college who participated in an academic reentry program after a long hiatus from school. The qualitative study involved in-depth interviews of 83 women from 12 programs in Washington, California, New York, and New Jersey. On the basis of his research, Mezirow concluded that the women in his study had undergone a personal transformation, and he identified 10 phases that they could experience. Here are the 10 phases of transformative learning. Phase 1, a disorienting dilemma. Phase 2, self-examination with feelings of guilt or shame. Phase 3, a critical assessment of assumptions. Phase 4, recognizing that one's discontent and process of transformation are shared, and that others have negotiated a similar change. Phase 5, exploration of options for new roles, relationships, and actions. Phase 6, planning a course of action. Phase 7, acquisition of knowledge and skills for implementing one's plans. Phase 8, provisional trying out of new roles. Phase 9, building competence and confidence in new roles and relationships. Phase 10, a reintegration into one's life on the basis of conditions dictated by one's new perspective. So we know that Mezirow is widely acknowledged as the founder of the concept of transformative learning. But when answering the question of where Mezirow's theory belongs within the larger spectrum of educational theorists, what I found was that Mezirow was influenced by many important theorists. To start, the foundation of Mezirow's thinking was influenced by John Dewey's progressive education theory. Other influences on Mezirow's early theory of transformative learning included Kuhn's paradigm, Freire's theory of the critical consciousness of the world, and Habermas's domains of learning. The key ideas of these theorists inform Mezirow's transformative learning theory and the significant concepts. Transformative learning involves a frame of reference that comprises habits of the mind and meaning perspectives, which leads to perspective transformation. The influence of Kuhn's paradigm is apparent in Mezirow's work. In addition, the theory of transformative learning itself has become a paradigm, as it has explained many of the unanswered questions about adult learning. Like Kuhn's paradigm, the work of Paulo Freire also informed Mezirow's initial theories. Freire likened traditional education to the banking method of learning, where the teacher deposits information to those students whom the teacher deems worthy of receiving the gifts of knowledge. The problem with this form of education is that students become dependent on the teacher for knowledge and do not learn to think for themselves. Freire's response to this reliance on someone else and the lack of free thought was his theory of conscientization. He defined conscientization as developing a critical awareness so that individuals can take action against the oppressive elements of reality. In his stages of consciousness growth, Freire believed that at the highest stage, known as critical transitivity, individuals think globally and critically about their present conditions and decide to take action for change. It is this stage of critical consciousness that influenced Mezirow in his notions of disorienting dilemma, critical reflection on assumptions, and critical discourse. Mezirow turned to the work of Habermas to devise a critical theory of adult learning and adult education. Habermas proposed 3 domains of learning: A, the technical; B, the practical; and C, the emancipatory. Mezirow's examination of these 3 domains led to his description of perspective transformation as, quote, the emancipatory process of becoming critically aware of how and why the structure of psycho-cultural assumptions has come to constrain the way we see ourselves and our relationships, reconstituting the structure to permit a more inclusive and discriminating integration of experience and acting upon these new understandings. Mezirow's initial theory became more developed as he expanded the view of perspective transformation. He did this by relating the emancipatory process to self-directed learning to form 3 revised types of learning. The earlier 3 types of learning, technical, practical, and emancipatory, based on Habermas's earlier work, became A, instrumental; B, dialogic; and C, self-reflective. With instrumental learning, the learners ask how they can best learn the information. With dialogic learning, learners ask when and where this learning could best take place. And with self-reflective learning, learners ask why they are learning the information. Within each learning process, 3 learning processes occur. 1, learning within meaning schemes, working with present meaning schemes by expanding on, complementing, and revising their present systems of knowledge. 2, learning new meaning schemes, acquiring a new set of meaning schemes that are compatible with existing schemes within the learner's meaning perspectives. 3, learning through meaning transformation, encountering a problem that cannot be resolved through neither present meaning nor learning new meaning schemes so that the resolution comes through a redefinition of the problem. In 2000, Mezirow presented another revision of transformative learning. Referring to his work as a theory in progress, Mezirow elaborated and revised his original terminology. He argued that a meaning perspective is a frame of reference and comprises habits of mind and subsequent points of view. Habits of mind were expanded to include a variety of dimensions: sociolinguistic, moral ethical, epistemic, philosophical, and aesthetic. These perspectives were expressed by teachers as their points of view, which comprise clusters of meaning schemes. Mezirow went on to explain that meaning schemes were sets of immediate specific expectations, beliefs, feelings, attitudes, and judgments, which shape a particular interpretation and assign causality. In short, Mezirow's revisions of the initial theory led to a tighter description of the theory. According to Kitchenham, transformative learning theory has changed the way that we teach adults. Stephen Brookfield, an adult learning scholar who is a consulting editor at Adult Education Quarterly, stated that Mezirow's work has inspired a wealth of empirical case studies that have given the field of adult learning an entirely new order of theoretical legitimacy. Brookfield believes that they could fill every issue of Adult Education Quarterly with papers critiquing, refining, and developing Mezirow's ideas. Mezirow's influence extends far beyond adult learning. His work has been used by people in medicine, corporations, social work, elementary schools, and the military. But still, the theory will best be known as the definitive framework for describing how adults learn best.